Now, let me begin today by telling you something interesting about the age we're living in. It's a remarkable time, truly remarkable. You can type a few words into a little box on your phone, and out comes a paragraph, a business plan, a poem, a picture, almost anything you want, and that's wonderful. Technology has given us some extraordinary gifts. But here's the catch. For all the things the machines can now do, they still can't do the one thing that matters most. They cannot make you disciplined. They cannot make you consistent. They cannot make you grow. See, the world is changing faster than ever. But human nature, that part hasn't changed much at all. The same challenges we faced 50 years ago, we still face today. Distraction, procrastination, inconsistency, these are ancient enemies wearing modern clothing. We traded the television for the smartphone, the typewriter for artificial intelligence, but the real battle is still the same. Who are you becoming while all this is happening? And that's why I want to talk about this idea of shortcuts. Everybody wants something quicker, faster, easier. You can get food in minutes, information in seconds, entertainment instantly, and now you can even generate content instantly. But let me tell you something I learned early in my career. If you get the harvest before you plant the seed, something is wrong. Success still follows the old laws. You cannot cheat the soil. You cannot skip the process of becoming. Because if you skip the becoming, you lose the becoming, and that's where the real treasure is. Technology can help you, yes. It can make you efficient. It can make you productive, but it can never make you valuable. That part is still your job. That's still your responsibility. And that's why we're here today to talk about how to stay consistent in a world full of shortcuts and noise and distractions. Because if the world keeps changing, but your principles stay strong, you'll always have an edge. You'll always have stability in an unstable environment. You'll always have clarity in a world drowning in information. So let me give you 3 timeless rules, older than electricity, older than computers, older than the internet. 3 rules that guided me through life, guided millions around the world, and will guide you no matter what inventions the future brings. Follow these rules, and you can stay consistent when everyone else is getting swept away by the next new thing. Now, let's talk about the real problem. The problem isn't that people today don't want to be consistent. They want to believe me. Most people would love to read every day, exercise every day, save money every day, learn every day. They want to be consistent. The issue is that consistency has never had more competition than it has right now. See, distraction used to knock at your door. Now it lives in your pocket. It vibrates every few minutes. It calls your name. It says, just a second, only a second. And you know how it goes. 1 second becomes 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes an hour becomes where did my day go? That's how distraction works. It doesn't steal your life in big chunks. It steals it in tiny slices. A little here, a little there. And before you know it, your potential has been nibbled away by small, harmless things. When I was growing up, if you wanted a distraction, you had to go find one. You had to get in your car, walk down the road. Today, the distraction finds you. It follows you. And if you're not careful, it governs you. It tells you what to think, what to watch, what to believe, and what to do next. And if you let distraction govern your life, it will gladly take the job. Then we have this new world of shortcuts. We've invented the most powerful tools in human history. You can type 1 sentence, and a machine will build you a plan for the whole week. Now, that's impressive. But here's the danger. The ease of output creates the illusion of progress. You produce something quickly so you feel productive, but feeling productive is not the same as becoming productive. Output is not the same as growth. And so now we have a world where people are doing more, but becoming less. Producing more, but progressing less. We have more content than ever, but less clarity. More information, but less wisdom. More time-saving tools, but less personal time. Isn't that something? See, this modern world makes consistency difficult because it constantly offers you the easy path. And the easy path is always waiting. It's always whispering. But here's the truth. Most of what's easy to do is also easy not to do. It's easy to read a few pages, easy not to. Easy to write down your goals, easy not to. Easy to spend a few minutes in quiet reflection. Easy not to. And since both sides are easy, people drift toward the one that requires the least from them. Now, let me give you something to think about. Technology keeps getting faster, but success is still slow. Tools keep getting better, but habits still matter. Machines get smarter, but character is still your responsibility. So the question is not, how do I keep up with the modern world? The question is, how do I keep myself together in a world that never slows down? And that's why we need timeless rules. Rules that were true yesterday, true today, and will still be true long after the next wave of inventions come and go. Let's move to the first of those rules. Now let's talk about the first timeless rule. And this one has been around longer than the pyramids, longer than the printing press, longer than every invention you can imagine. I call it the law of seasons. You've probably heard me say this before, but it's worth repeating. Life is a series of seasons, and no matter how advanced the technology becomes, you can't skip them. You can't go from seed to harvest in one day. You can't demand summer to hurry up because you're feeling impatient, and you can't get angry at the winter because it showed up on schedule. Seasons arrive whether you're ready or not, and they follow an order that not even the smartest machine can rearrange. Let me give it to you straight. AI can speed up your typing, but it cannot speed up your growing. And isn't that interesting? We live in a world where everything seems instantaneous. If you want an answer, you ask the machine. If you want a picture, you generate it. If you want a quote, you press a button. But when it comes to building character, discipline, resilience, success, there is no button, and there never will be. Now, let me walk you through the seasons of life the way my mentor once walked me through them. First is spring, the season of opportunity. This is when ideas blossom, when doors open, when enthusiasm is high. It's the season for planting. Not talking about planting, actually planting, because the soil doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to seeds. The spring is your window, and windows close. If you hesitate too long, the season changes, and technology can't rewind it for you. Next is summer, the season of nurturing and protecting. Summer is work. Summer is sweat. Summer is dealing with the heat, the weeds, the insects, the things that want to steal your harvest. And believe me, every good idea has its own set of insects. Doubt, fear, distraction, those little creatures show up the moment you start growing something worthwhile. Machines can't protect you from that. Apps can't protect you from that. Only discipline can. Then comes fall, the season of harvest. This is where you reap what you planted months earlier. And here's the truth. If you didn't plant much, you won't harvest much. If you planted nothing, you'll harvest nothing. Technology can't manufacture a harvest. It might help you organize it, calculate it, announce it, but it cannot produce what you never planted. And finally, there's winter, the season of adversity. Winter comes for all of us. Winter of finances, winter of health, winter of relationships, winter of confidence, and winter doesn't care if you were planning for it or not. But here's the secret. Winter is easier to endure when you use the other seasons wisely, and winter is unbearable when you didn't. Now, why is this important in the age of shortcuts? Because shortcuts trick you into believing you can skip a season. But you can't skip becoming. You can't skip the discipline it takes to plant, or the patience it takes to wait, or the courage it takes to endure. Success still grows like a tree, not like a download. And if you want a strong life, a life that can weather storms, changes, trends, and new technologies, you must honor the seasons. You must understand that everything meaningful takes time. You cannot rush it. You cannot cheat it. And you cannot outsmart it. Now that we've covered the first rule, let's explore the next one, a rule so simple, so powerful, that most people underestimate it. Now, let's move to the second timeless rule. And if you only remember one thing from today, let it be this. Because this rule is the difference between mediocrity and mastery, between drifting and direction, between hoping for success and earning it. Here it is. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's it. Not complicated, not mysterious, not dramatic, just a few simple disciplines practiced every day. But here's what most people miss. The simplicity of the discipline is exactly why people ignore it. It's easy to do, but it's just as easy not to do. And that's the trap. Let me illustrate. It's easy to read 10 pages of a good book today. It's easy not to. It's easy to write down your goals every morning. It's easy not to. It's easy to take a 20-minute walk. Easy not to. A few minutes of reflection. Easy to do. Easy not to do. And since both sides are easy, most people follow the path of least resistance. They don't say, I won't read today. No. They say, I'll read later. And that tiny decision repeated daily becomes a habit. And that habit becomes a lifestyle. And that lifestyle produces a result. And here's the truth. Everything compounds discipline or neglect. Do something small each day, and it becomes something big. Neglect something small each day, and that also becomes something big. One leads to success, the other leads to regret. Let me give you a little formula. A few simple disciplines practiced every day produces momentum. A few errors in judgment repeated every day produces disaster. The world today teaches us to look for the big move, the big breakthrough, the viral moment, the overnight success. But real success, the kind that lasts, is built inch by inch, not in giant leaps. In fact, the bigger the dream, the smaller the daily disciplines usually are. Isn't that something? The greatest transformations come from the tiniest habits, reading a little, listening a little, thinking a little, improving a little. And those little improvements gather force over time. But Jim, someone might say, what about all this new technology? Doesn't it make things easier? Well, yes, it makes things easier to do. But easier to do also means easier to avoid. You can use AI to plan your day, but you still have to live your day. You can use AI to summarize a book, but you still have to apply the wisdom. You can use AI to create a system, but you still have to follow it. Tools can assist your disciplines. Tools cannot replace them. So let me give you a set of simple daily disciplines that will outlast any invention, any trend, any app. 1. Read at least 10 pages of something valuable. Just 10. That's enough to change your philosophy over time. 2. Spend a few minutes in quiet reflection. Ask yourself, how did I do today? Most people skip this question and their life shows it. 3. Write down your priorities before the world steals your attention. Make your list before the noise begins. 4. Work on your health every day, even 10 minutes. A body in motion stays in motion. 5. Practice your craft every day. Become just a little better than yesterday. And here's the final point. Consistency is built on disciplines, not feelings. Feelings change. Seasons change. Technology changes. But disciplines, when practiced daily, become habits. And habits will take you where motivation cannot. Now that we have the second rule clear, let's move to the third and final rule, one of the most important ideas I ever learned. It's the rule that determines your income, your confidence, and your future. Now let's talk about the third timeless rule. And if you've never heard this one before, let it strike deep. This idea changed the entire direction of my life the day I learned it. My mentor, Mr. Schof, looked me in the eye when I was a broke, bewildered 25-year-old kid, and he said, Jim, if you want things to get better, you have to get better. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When he said that, something clicked. Because up until then, I was working hard on my job, but I wasn't working hard on me. And when you work harder on your job than you do on yourself, your income can only grow to match your skill. But when you work harder on yourself, everything changes. Your value, your opportunities, your choices, your results. Now, why is this rule more important than ever? Because in the modern world, tools level the playing field. AI can give everyone access to the same information, the same ideas, the same templates, the same strategies. But it cannot give everyone the same character. It cannot give everyone the same mindset. It cannot give everyone the same resilience. And here's the truth. The marketplace still pays for value, not shortcuts. You don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. And value comes from who you become, not what device you use. Let me give you a little test. If tomorrow the world removed every tool you currently use, what would you still have to offer? Your discipline, your wisdom, your creativity, your communication, your attitude. Those are the things that machines cannot replace. And those are the things that determine your future. See, technology can automate tasks, but it cannot automate ambition. It can generate content, but it cannot generate character. It can organize your schedule, but it cannot organize your philosophy. That part, your personal development, is still your responsibility. So what does it mean to work harder on yourself? It means you become a student of life. You read the books. You take the notes. You ask the questions. You refine your thinking. You correct your errors. You elevate your standards. It means you say, if I'm going to be here for another year, I might as well grow for another year. Let me tell you something interesting. You can outgrow your old problems simply by outgrowing yourself. You don't have to fight every obstacle head on. Sometimes you don't need a better answer. You need to become a better person. A person for whom that old problem is no longer a problem. Let me give you a simple daily routine for personal development, the Rohn routine. Morning, read something valuable. Not the news, not the noise wisdom. Feed your mind something that improves your perspective. Afternoon, practice your craft. Whatever you do, sales, teaching, writing, leadership, practice a little. Skill grows by engagement, not by inspiration. Evening, reflect. Ask, what did I learn? What did I miss? What can I improve tomorrow? This is where wisdom is formed in reflection. Do that every day, and something miraculous happens. You begin attracting opportunities instead of chasing them. People start asking for your insight instead of giving you theirs. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive change, you thrive in it. Work hard on your job and you can make a living. Work hard on yourself and you can make a fortune. Work hard on your job and you will survive. Work hard on yourself and you will thrive. Work hard on your job and you earn a paycheck. Work hard on yourself and you earn a future. Now that you understand all three timeless rules, let's do something important. Let's take these principles and build them into a practical, personal consistency system you can use every single day. Now that we've covered the three timeless rules, let's take all of this wonderful philosophy and build it into something practical, something you can use every single day. Because philosophy is powerful, but only when you turn it into a system. If you don't create a system, life will create one for you. And trust me, life's system has only one goal: to pull you in every direction except forward. So let me give you what I call the Rohn consistency method. A simple set of habits, practices, and routines that keep you grounded, growing, and moving in the right direction despite the modern world, despite the distractions, despite the noise. Let's go step by step. 1. Keep a personal philosophy journal. My mentor told me, don't trust your memory, trust your notes. Your memory is fragile, your notes are solid. If you want consistency, start writing things down. Write down ideas, lessons, mistakes, insights, wins, losses, everything that grows you. Why? Because reflection deepens understanding. Writing creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. And direction sustains consistency. A journal is not just a notebook, it's a mirror for your mind. 2. Create a daily 3 disciplines list. Every morning, before the world starts yelling for your attention, write down 3 simple disciplines you will complete today. Not 30, not 12, 3. It might be read 10 pages, walk 20 minutes, make 1 important phone call. Simple, clear, attainable, and when done daily, absolutely transformational. Most people fail because their list is too long. They overwhelm themselves. Keep it short, keep it sharp, keep it doable. 3. Review weekly. Growth requires measuring. At the end of every week, take a few minutes and ask yourself 3 questions. How did I grow? Where did I drift? What will I adjust next week? That's it. A small review prevents big regrets. If you don't measure, you can't improve. If you don't reflect, you can't correct. If you don't pause, you can't progress. 4. Audit your environment. Remove what steals your strength. Let me give you something important. Your environment must serve your goals, not sabotage them. Clean your workspace. Organize your tools. Remove digital clutter. Unfollow noise. Silence the unnecessary notifications. Consistency grows in a clean field, not a chaotic jungle. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer distractions. 5. The association rule your circle predicts your consistency. Here's one of the great truths. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you spend time with people who complain, soon you will. If you spend time with people who drift, soon you will. If you spend time with people who strive, rise, and grow, guess what? You will too. Choose your associations deliberately. Don't leave your future in the hands of random company. Surround yourself with people who push you forward, not pull you backward. 6. Use technology as an assistant, not a master. AI can create your plan, but only you can follow the plan. AI can summarize a book, but only you can apply the wisdom. AI can help you write more, but only you can become more. Let technology lighten the load, but not lead your life. Tools amplify discipline. They cannot replace it. 7. Manage momentum, harvest the good seasons, rest in the hard ones. One of the secrets to consistency is momentum. When you're feeling strong, plant more seeds. When you're feeling weak, focus on rest, reflection, and small steps. Consistency doesn't mean intensity every day. It means you stay on the path even when the pace changes. And remember, momentum is easier to maintain than to create. Start small, then build. Now you have a system, a way to live the philosophy every day. Not in theory, not in ideal circumstances, but in real life. A system makes consistency automatic. A simple structure makes success predictable. Now let's talk about something just as important. What happens when you ignore these timeless rules? Now, before we move further, let's take a moment to talk about the consequences. Because if philosophy is the seed and discipline is the soil, consequences are the harvest. And the harvest will always tell you the truth whether you want to hear it or not. See, one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned is this. You can ignore the laws of success, but you cannot avoid the results. Let me say that again because it's important. You can ignore the laws, but you cannot escape the consequences. So what happens when you ignore these timeless rules? 1. If you neglect the seasons, you'll complain about the harvest. If you don't plant in the spring, you'll have nothing in the fall. No philosophy, no technology, no trick, no hack can change that. People sometimes say, Jim, I'm unhappy with what I'm getting. Well, the harvest doesn't come from what you want. The harvest comes from what you plant. Wishing for more doesn't produce more. Planting more does. 2. If you skip daily disciplines, you will drift. Drifting is subtle. It doesn't show up all at once. It happens silently, gently, comfortably. You miss one day, then another, then a week, then a month. Pretty soon you look back and say, what happened? Well, nothing happened. That's the problem. Neglect is just as powerful as discipline, only in the opposite direction. Every neglect compounds. Every discipline compounds. And the marketplace responds to both. 3. If you stop working on yourself, life passes you by. You can't coast uphill. You can't grow by accident. You can't improve without intention. If you don't keep growing, the world will move forward without you. Your skills get old. Your mindset gets rigid. Your habits get stale. Technology advances, but your philosophy stays the same. And here's what happens. Opportunities pass you instead of pause for you. Life rewards the person who grows, not the person who waits. 4. If you let technology think for you, your mind gets soft. There's nothing wrong with tools, but if you let tools make your decisions, you lose your ability to decide. If you let machines think for you, you lose your ability to think. If you let shortcuts replace understanding, you lose your ability to create. The danger is not that AI becomes too intelligent. The danger is that you become too dependent. Use tools, but keep your mind sharp. 5. If you surround yourself with the wrong people, you shrink. This one is almost guaranteed. You can't outgrow your environment. You can't stay ambitious in a circle that mocks ambition. You can't stay consistent around people who don't believe in consistency. People rub off on you, their language, their expectations, their attitudes. Spend enough time around negativity and you'll adopt the accent. So if you don't intentionally choose your influences will unintentionally choose your future. 6. If you don't manage momentum, you break before you bend. Life gives us hard seasons. If you haven't built discipline during the easy ones, you'll collapse during the difficult ones. Consistency protects you from crisis. Discipline protects you from overwhelm. Growth protects you from decline. But if you ignore all three, you become fragile instead of resilient. 7. If you fail to reflect, you fail to improve. Let me give you a little secret. Without reflection, you repeat the same year over and over. One of the saddest sights is a person with 10 years of experience, but it's actually the same year repeated 10 times. No lessons, no adjustments, no evolution. If you don't stop and think, life becomes a blur instead of a classroom. So yes, there are consequences. But here's the good news. Consequences are teachers. They remind you of the law. They point you back to the path. They whisper, it's time to grow again. Now that you know what happens when these rules are ignored, let's talk about the far more exciting side. What happens when you live these rules daily, consistently, faithfully? Now that we've explored the consequences of neglect, let's shift to the far more inspiring side, the promise. Because if neglect brings you regret, discipline brings you reward. There's always balance in the universe. For every error in judgment, there's a harvest of pain. But for every discipline practiced, there's a harvest of abundance, a magnificent exchange. And the promise of these three timeless rules is simple. If you live them daily, your life will rise. In small ways at first, then in big ways, then in ways you can't even imagine yet. Let me walk you through what begins to happen. 1. Your mind becomes clearer. When you practice daily reflection, daily reading, daily note-taking, your mind sharpens. You begin to see things other people overlook. You catch opportunities others miss. You anticipate problems before they arrive. Clarity is a rare commodity in a noisy world. But clarity comes to the disciplined. Clarity comes to the consistent. Clarity comes to the thinker, not the drifter. 2. Your discipline strengthens. You don't start with discipline, you build it. People say, Jim, I wish I had more willpower. Well, willpower isn't a gift, it's a muscle. And every time you choose the small discipline over the small temptation, you strengthen the muscle. 1 day of discipline is good. 10 days is better. 100 days? Now you're dangerous. Because once discipline becomes part of you, consistency becomes natural. 3. Your confidence grows. Confidence doesn't come from praise. It doesn't come from applause. It doesn't come from people saying you're amazing. True confidence comes from a quiet voice inside that says, I do what I say. I keep my word. I follow through. I don't break my promises, especially to myself. That kind of confidence is unshakable. It's the kind that turns impossible into possible. 4. New opportunities start finding you. Let me tell you something interesting. When you grow, people notice, even if you think they don't. You speak differently. You walk differently. Your energy shifts. Your presence rises. People start inviting you into rooms you once only dreamed of entering. Not because you asked, not because you chased, but because you became the kind of person who belongs there. Opportunity does not respond to desire. Opportunity responds to value. And these rules practiced daily make you valuable. 5. You become resilient in chaos. Life will test you. That's guaranteed. But when you follow the seasons, when you practice the disciplines, When you work harder on yourself, something powerful happens. You bend, but you do not break. You slow down, but you do not stop. You feel the pressure, but you don't collapse, because consistency builds internal strength. The kind of strength no market crash, no setback, no criticism can steal from you. 6. You feel a deep sense of peace. Peace is a byproduct of alignment. When your actions match your values, when your habits match your goals, when your mindset matches your future, suddenly you feel grounded, solid, centered. You stop fighting yourself. You stop arguing with your path. You stop doubting your ability to grow. Peace arrives when you know you're on the right road. 7. You attract the right people. Growth attracts growth. Discipline attracts discipline. Consistency attracts consistency. People of excellence recognize excellence. People of value recognize value. You won't have to chase them. They'll gravitate toward you. Your circle improves as you improve. Your network rises as you rise. Your relationships deepen as your character deepens. 8. You build a life you're proud of. Not by luck, not by chance, not by shortcuts, but by the daily decisions, the small disciplines, the consistent actions that stack up day after day, season after season. You look back after a few years and say, look what I've become. Look how far I've come. Look what my habits built. That's the promise. Not perfection progress, not comparison development, not a sudden leap steady evolution. When you live these rules daily, your life rises quietly at first, then loudly, then unmistakably. And now that you understand the promise, it's time for the final piece. Bringing everything home, the closing reminder that ties all the parts together. Well, my friends, we've come to the final piece, the closing reminder. And if I may say so, this may be the most important part of all, because information makes you aware, but reminders make you consistent. Philosophy shows you the path, but repetition keeps you walking it. So let me give you the final reminder, the one I hope you carry with you long after today. Technology will keep changing, but the laws of life will not. The tools may get faster. The screens may get brighter. The apps may get smarter, but success is still slow. Growth is still intentional. Wisdom is still earned. And character, real character, is still built in the silence of daily disciplines. Let me say something else. AI can help you move faster, but only your habits help you move forward. It can increase your output, but only discipline increases your destiny. It can assist your creativity, but only consistency builds your future. Remember this. If you rush the seasons, the harvest will be thin. If you abandon the disciplines, the results will be weak. If you neglect your personal development, your opportunities will shrink. But if you honor the seasons, if you practice the small disciplines, if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, your life becomes extraordinary. Not suddenly, but inevitably. And here's the beauty. The world cannot ignore a person who lives by these laws. It may overlook you for a while. It may underestimate you for a season. It may not applaud your early efforts. But when the results show up, when the harvest comes in, when your character and competence and consistency shine, people will ask you, how did you do it? And you can smile because you'll know the secret. You did it quietly. You did it patiently. You did it through small disciplines when no one was watching. You did it with a philosophy that outlasts every trend and every tool. Success whispers before it ever roars. The roots grow before the tree rises. The habits form before the results appear. So take the next step. Wake up tomorrow and plant a seed. Read a page. Write a thought. Practice your craft. Reflect on your day. Work on yourself. Just a little. Just enough to stay on the path. Because the day you truly commit to these laws, the day you decide to be consistent with the small things, that is the day your future begins to change. Not someday. Not when things slow down. Not when motivation strikes. But today, right now. The universe counts your votes. Cast one today. Cast one tomorrow. Cast them daily. And watch what you attract by the person you become. My friends, the future is waiting. Go build it quietly, faithfully, consistently.